Kwiragwo mundu mwiyendi endaga gutonga na ihenya no ndoi thina no umukorerere kinyukia ikinya gwa ikinya ndiuka na hihi ni uwi kuri muthenya uikaine ta panic day muthenya ucio ni wo muthi uria twitikagira ati ni unyitagwo ni guoya no ugagibatara kumiririo haria hothe uri gikorwo wina kaguoya ni ndakumiriria na ndakunyita ugeni muno makiria thiini wa mohoro gitau njitagwo Mumbi wa Wanyoike mwathiriri na njira ya ciiko tagwo Nyambura wa Wamusha na tukwambiriria mohoro maitu na guthie kaunti-ini ya Samburu kuria atongoria a kaunti ya Samburu bateanirie muhuhu ati kuri na wagagu wa gutharara kwa ngirimiti iria yekaniriirio gatagati ga President Uhuru Kenyatta na murunawe wa ODM Raila Odinga makiuga giki ni kigathi kia nyumba kia mohoro guku makihinyiriria ngeithi gatagati ka area ya ni cihandite wega na itingiteanirio kuringana na murugamiriri wa atumia Mason Leshomo na mubunge wa Samburu West na Isula Lesunda maugite muingi wa bururi uri thutha wa atongoria aya eri na makiria hari ukinyaniria wa BBI noguo mari na uma area ya ni megutongoria bururi hari gukinyanirio kwa ripoti ino.
Tumeona mamidia wakiongea ati handshake imepasuka. Nataka kuambia wale anasema hivyo. Handshake haipasuki. Wale wanaleta fitina mtasunguka tu msunguke lakini handshake itaendelea. Waache kuleta fitina. Kama mtu amekosa njia ya kwenda, hakuna haja kuharibu. Wakenya wanataka amani. Wakenya wanataka umoja. Wakenya waangalii mambo ingine, wanataka umoja na wanataka kutikana kama Wakenya. Kwa hivyo ningependa tu kuambia jameni, kama mlishindwa na siasa muache kuliko kuharibu watu, kwenda kuweka watu fitina. Waliimba fitina, MCS watapiga BBI. Sasa Kenya mzima wamepiga BBI MCS na tunaunga mkono au MCS katika Kenya mzima. Na tunasema BBI inaendelea, kura ikija kupigwa Samburu hatutakuwa na no, wote watapiga BBI.
Watu wetu wa Samburu wamesema ya kwamba wanaunga mkono sana handshake ya His Excellency the President na former Prime Minister Raila Odinga na pia zaidi mambo ya BBI. Na hatuunge tu BBI hivi ni kwa sababu kuna mengi ambayo ni mazuri hata kwetu wakina mama na wamama na vijana katika hiyo BBI na pesa ikikuja mashinani hiyo ambayo inapatiwa ward fund itasaidia kwa mambo kama maji na tunajua kwamba maji ni jambo ambalo linasumbua kina mama wetu sana. Pesa ikikuja mashinani ya kwamba tuangalie national government kila wakati itakuja kutusaidia sisi. Kwa hivyo hata mtu yoyote ambaye hataki ku-embrace BBI hapendi akina mama na hapendi ile maendeleo ambayo inakuja mashinani kutufikia sisi kama akina mama.
Tugikara o ngeithi-ini gutwarira nginya kuria gicua-ini miaka 3 kuma mutongoria wa bururi Uhuru Kenyatta na mutongoria wa ODM Raila Odinga mageithanie makinya matiganite ni matacukitio ma kiuteti. Mwandiki witu Ndegwa wa Gathungu ari kaunti-ini ya Mombatha na ni araraniria na amwe a atongoria a kiuteti guthurima maria ngeithi ici ciakinyanirie na kana kuri na mathenya marabatara guthingo. Reke tuthikiririe.
I think 3 years ago, you remember that the country was very unstable. We were in very serious turbulent waters, and because of the handshake, the country just calmed down, and it even made our work in the Senate and the National Assembly very easy because at least now people are able to work together. So we are hoping that the fruits of that can be realized, that we have a stable country, we have one country, and that we can be able to avoid the pitfalls that we have had in the past as a result of elections. So I think it was a good thing. Maybe.
Senator Rengo, you're a key person in the handshake, but the other day you had complained about it, and we have reported that there was a meeting.
No, that's a lie. That's not what I said. And by the way, the meeting today, which is being held in State House, is not a crisis meeting. It was a meeting which had been planned in the last meeting when the leaders of the political parties met, and they have decided to expand the people attending that meeting to include Senator Hassan Joho and Governor Oparanya. So it is not a crisis meeting. The handshake is very strong, I want to assure you. It's extremely strong. And that's why even in institutions like the Senate, we are working in the spirit of bipartisanship. The only thing that I said, which I think was, well presented in the media in shapes and forms that had several nuances. One, I was saying you should not mix the handshake and 2022. These are separate and distinct. The moment we get into a discussion of handshake plus 2022, then even my speaker here would have a very difficult position to manage us in the House when we are trying to implement the handshake in terms of the bills and in terms of the consequential legislation which is going to come before the National Assembly and the Senate. The second thing that I was saying, which is not new, is that the civil service must be subject to the political leadership. And that is not something new. It is in the Constitution. The head of the executive at the national level is an elected person, and his deputy, both of them are elected. The head of, or the heads of county governments, they're elected. And the speaker here presides over persons who are elected. And the Constitution says the system of democracy is either exercised by the people directly or through their elected representatives. For that reason, the public service cannot load it over the elected leaders. The public service must always comply with the directions in accordance with the law of elected leaders. And that's what I was saying.
Allies of both Kalonzo and Musalia Mudavadi have called out on Raila, saying that many people are not satisfied with the country currently. We should leave and they are ready to work with the president.
Tukiuma kuu gĩcũa-inĩ tũcokererie gũkũ mũciĩ mũnene kũrĩa gĩkundi kĩa Linda Katiba kiugĩte nĩ gĩkũregana na mũbango o wothe wa gũtabania mogarũrũku ma gĩgatiba. Matongoretio nĩ mũtongoria wa NARC Kenya Martha Karua, gĩkundi gĩkĩ kiugĩte matirona gĩtũmi o gĩothe kĩiganu gĩa gũcũngĩrĩria bũrũri gũtabania mogarũrũku maya.
And the NASA coalition after the 2017 very contested elections, which were in fact nullified by the court. The 2017 election, we note, was the 5th controversial election. We have had 6 elections since 2002, and only the 2002 election was accepted as largely free and fair. This is a very bad score and should remind each one of us the dire necessity of fixing the electoral process. We therefore should be alarmed that the BBI project does not anywhere mention how we shall fix the electoral process. Their mantra has been that the problem is the winner takes it all, while we all know that elections must have winners and losers. So instead of fixing the electoral process, they're just putting additional seats for people to share at the national level. If this were indeed true, there should be similar seats at the county level, because there are elections both at the national and the county level. We are inviting Kenyans to ask why this phenomena, according to BBI, is only at the national level, not at the county level. And the reason we guess is obvious, that the crisis at the top arises mainly because the incumbents don't want to lose power. They do not want to hand over. And this has happened in a nation we regard as the citadel of democracy. You remember the US elections. So really there is a terrible wind blowing all over.
Tuthi riu kuria Kiambu kuria uria wari minister wa mithako Rashid Cheza ni acokirio igoti-ini ria Kiambu thiini wa thitango iria imugumeire ya gutharikira afitha wa kamiti ya ithurano na mihaka IEBC hindi ya ithurano nini mwena wa Matungu. Reke riu tunyitanire na mwandiki witu Wanjiko uria ukoretwo akirumanirira na riboti ino atumenyithie ni mariku mareyumiria hindi ya cira uyu. Wanjiko, angikorwo ni uranyamukira waroni waku.
Thengio muno Mumbi, ni ndirakwamukira wega na hama ciakwa ndire ndirambura guku igoti-ini ria Kiambu kuria uria wari minister wa mathako guku bururi-ini Rashid Cheza otogwo auga nerikirie gukinyio igoti-ini riri mathaa-ini ma thaa 3:30 na nginyanagia na rugumenyithia ati cira wake ndururathikiriria na ni warikio gukanjwo kana ni watwarithio nginya mathaa-ini ma thaa 8 umuthikiririo mathaa-ini ma thaa 5 no mucirithania munene igoti-ini riri ria Kiambu Patricia Gicohi ni akorwo akiuga ndekuharirie ruling kana itua ria igoti ritigutwitwo kuona ndarari na ihinda kana ndanagia na ihinda ria kuhariria itua ria igoti ria kana hihi Rashid Cheza ni gukorwo akirekererio na bodi kana sa ni tuguthie na mbere na kurumanira na ndeto ino tuone kana hihi ni gukorwo akirekererio na bodi kana sa na kana cira wake ni gukorwo githikiririo umuthi kana hihi ni ugatwarwo rucio kuona Gicohi ni gukoretwo akiuria mawakiri ma Cheza kana hihi no metikire cira uyu korwo ugithikiririo muthenya wa rucio kuringana na mahinda kana mathaa uria mahana indi mauga ni mehariirie gweterera nginya hihi arikie kuhaririria riboti kana itua ria igoti na ngumenyithia ati Cheza athitangitwo igoti-ini riri na mahitia ma gutharikira afitha kana afitha wa kamiti ya ithurano ya IEBC orondumwe na gututhura ngui ithurano-ini cia Matungu kuria ithurano iria ciriga gwikwo kiumia kihituku na hihi angikorwo Mumbi nduri na kiuria kingi njokia moro kurwe ngwire ati mathaa-ini ma thaa 8 tutikwambura hama citu nigetha tumenyithie mwirore witu uria maundu meguthie na mbere na kwigariura guku kaunti-ini ya Kiambu.
Ngatho muno Wanjiko mwiroreri ni wakiigua ni werwo ndugakiume mitambo-ini ni tugukorwo tugikumenyithia makiria uhoro wigie riboti iyo ya Rashid Cheza. Tugithie na mbere, muthikafu wa kanitha ya Gatoreki Diocese ya Kitui Joseph Mongela ni athigatite atongoria na a Kenya gwithemana na uteti wa kuhunjia rumena na ngayukano makiria ihinda-ini riri twerekeire uteti wa ithurano kana githurano kinene kia mwaka ukite. Kuringana na Mongela, njatukano ino ikoretwo ikiyumiria gatagati ka atongoria ngathi-ini itiganite na ni ugwati munene hari gukinyanirio gwa tabarira cia uthii wa na mbere undu uria ni gucokia bururi na thutha.
Kile tungetaka cha maana ni watu kupiga kura za ukweli, watu wachague yule wanataka ambaye ataongoza vizuri ili tuweze kwenda mbele. Mambo ya vita kuanza kutengana kwa ajili ya kabila ya mtu, mwelekeo wa mtu inafunja amani ambayo ndio tunapaswa kuendeleza. Na wakati huu sasa katika kanisa yetu ni wakati tunaita Lenten campaign ambapo tunafikiria zile siku 40 za Yesu akiwa jangwani akiomba akimrudia Mungu na anatuleta sote ili tuweze kukaa pamoja kama wana wa Mungu, tujue sisi ni akina nani, tufanye yale mazuri hayo yanayohitajika. Kwa hivyo ni wakati mzuri kwa watu wote kuungana, kumjua Mungu kama ndiye ametuumba ili tuweze kupeleka mambo ya dunia nchi yetu mbele. Amani inahitajika. Wana Kenya wakiachwa bila kufurugwa, tunaweza kuishi tujiendeleze. Tunashukuru Mungu yale ametujalia. Ukambani ungekuwa na njaa, lakini Mungu atukanjalia kabla ya mwaka kuisha tukapata mfumo. Watu wako na mafuno. Tukapambana na nzinge na watu wamepata mafuno kiasi, wanaendelea vizuri. Kwa hivyo kwangu ni kusema vile tunataka ni amani, watu waishi vizuri. Tukingojea 2022 ni kuunganika ili tuweze kusonga mbele, sio kutenganisha watu ama incitement ili watu waanze kupigana kwa mambo ambayo tutapeleka mbele.
Gutware riu nginya kuria count 019 kuria umwe wa ekwirwo ajuragano iria irigite kuhanika mwena wa Nyeri ndanekinya igoti-ini thutha wake gutwarwo keheri-ini kwa ihinda ria thiku 14 kuma muthenya wa ira. Ona gukihana uguo ekwirwo angi atatu nimekinyirie igoti-ini na cira wa kana nimekurekererio na bodi ni hindi urathie na mbere. Reke riu twamukire mbica cia imwe kwa imwe kuma igoti-ini Nyeri.
Every accused person has the right to liberty. As a general rule, therefore, every accused person should not be detained, but should be released subject to their guarantee by other persons to attend trial. That pre-trial detention, pending a hearing, determination of a trial, should therefore be a measure of the last resort.
Yes.
The authorities have quoted my lady to buttress on that issue. The court stated that for compelling reasons to be allowed to deny bail, there must be the least restrictive means to resolve the issue raised before the court. That is to mean, for example, if it is the issue of absconding again that has been raised, there must be no other solution to resolve that issue should it have been established that they are to abscond.
Cira uyu naguo no tuguthie na mbere na kurumirira na tukumenyithie uria magukiamura thiini wa mohoro maitu ma hwaini. Thutha wa kiama kia Jubilee gutashukiria makinya MCAs a guthukio kaunti-ini ya Nyandarua, kiama giki kia Jubilee ni hindi iria kwari na ndugamano yari kuo hindi ya kuhagurwo gwa speaker wa bunge iyo. Amwe ao riu nimeranire kunyitanira na thirikari ya kaunti iyo niguo gukinyanirio thiwa na mbere na kunyita thirikari baru. Makiaria kana Georgina Wajirushira ni umwe wao aria maniriire itua riao akiuga ndatindikiririo ni mundu gukinyaniria itua riri indi ni wendi wake mwene. Oho kaunti-ini iyo ni mamukirite motaro ma gwithema na ngui cia kimucii, ithomo kiria kirahaririirio ni murugamiriri wa atumia kaunti-ini iyo Faith Gitau.
Wega ati ni kiama kihete wira not speaker Ndegwa Wahome ngona ni kunde arandeaga nigetha futwo wira na riu ni njitikirite kunyitana na thirikari ni tondu gutire hindi mwena wa andu anini ungihota gukorwo niguo urathana no mwena wa andu aria aingi ucio niguo wathanaga kuringana na thirikari. Noguo niguo gutari na nini ndacoka mwena wa thirikari na ngacokeria gavana witu ngatho tondu ona tuthiete mwena ucio utagiriire gwitu no kurathie na mbere na kurutwo wira.
Nete ni muheshimiwa Georgina gwitikira kana kuona kana kumenya wira wake thiini wa thirikari ni uriku na muno makiria aratua itua ria kuga ni ekwenda ni undu wa maundu maria makoretwo thiini wa kaunti ino ni ekwenda gucoka thirikari-ini na to gucoka thirikari-ini ni gucoka thirikari-ini tondu ni ararikirie kumenya mwandikwo wake uria ari we Jubilee Party na muno makiria gutungatira the government of the day o to uria arikia gutariria
tumia manyitana ni twikiranaga urugari ona mundu agithie through hard time ni tukumaniriria ni tukwaraniria na ithuothe tukorwo ati ni tukunyitirira micii itu na matura maitu na njira iria yagiri.
Gikundi kia atongoria a university kuma kaunti-ini ya Embu ni moretie mbeu njithi matigetikire kuhuthika uru ni ateti riri bururi urorete gutabania kura ya mawoni no teti wa ithurano cia mwaka ukite. Mbeu njithi aya maugite ati atongoria makoretwo makihuthika na njira ya kuheo mbeca no matigagwo muturire-ini wokia riri ateti marahuthira kana riria maramahũthĩra na makoragwo makirianira.
Nimonete wega wa BBI makiria nginya gwitwe aikari etu ava Embu kondo BBI ni iratuongerera constituency imwe. Constituency yorongererwa iramaanisha andu a Embu ni mbia marongererwa. Andu a Embu na students cia Embu kuiragia an opportunity ya gukorwo ikigia bursary nyingi kuria iragicaga mbere. Na andu ava Embu wana tukithiaga mbere tugakorwo twina opportunity.
Atumia ni mahetwo kamweke ga kuhota gutongoria thiini wa bururi witu na kuhota kugia na kamweke ga gukorwo na mawira thiini wa bururi witu ni undu wa BBI ino na nikio ndirauga tunafiririndana BBI tunafiririndana BBI
murege gutumirwa ni ngwenda kuria a youth othe ma Embu murege gutumirwa ni wanasiasa mubeago 200 mubeago 100 niguo muthie muikie mathiga murege undu ucio kabisa. Njoke njurie leaders acio maria marathie maria me neutral maratu confuse na magatubenia ati BBI ina maundu moru kana itirorongororetie mu youth na njira njega ndemwire BBI ukite na maundu mega muno.
The BBI articulation itself, it's boosting the unity among the tribes. We are 42 tribes in Kenya and ambapo tuliona 2007 we had election violence. And in that election violence, it was a section of one tribe fighting against the section of another tribe. And the BBI is here to bring the unity among the tribes and making us one Kenya, one tribe. So the government will be working as one.
Gutware ukafine kuria aikari a matura ma Osotua na Isara Kajiado ya irathiro kaunti-ini ya Kajiado ni maugite kana ni magunekete na kwenjerwo irima ria mai kuma kuri ruhonge rwa wenji wa mai rwa Ewasonyiro. Aikari a makoretwo magithie thabari ndaya magietha mai kuria atumia marakoragwo ugwati-ini wa gutharikirwo ni nyamu cia githaka. Wajiri wa Foro na ripoti makiria.
Kwa ihinda iraya aikari a matura ma Isara na Osotua kaunti-ini ya Kajiado ni makoretwo magitangika ni wagi wa mai undu uria ukinyite muthia thutha wa kwenjerwo irima ria mai. Aikari aya maugite ni marathiaga thabari ndaya igeri-ini ria gwetha mai maria kaingi na kaingi mataraiganaga mahuthiro-ini mao muthenya.
Kama hatuna maji tulikuwa tuna travel long distance like 5 kilometers 10 kilometers na wengine wana travel kubeba maji kwa mgongo hawana punda, kwa hivyo walikuwa na hard time.
Kwa ile pipeline ya kutoka Noturesh kwenda Mashuru kwenda kubeba na mgongo.
Riu ni maugite uteithio uyu wa mai no kumaguna na njira nene amo makiuga ni mehaririirie kwambiriria urimi na mai macio.
Hii maji inamaanisha ni uhai. Tumepata maji, tuliteseka mara mingi lakini tunashukuru Mungu kwa sababu leo tumeipata maji.
Sasa wakati nilipoona maji imekuja sijaiona watoto hawajaika tena wakiwa hawajaoga. Kila siku hata nyumba yangu mimi naingia ndani naleta maji mingi.
Tafarire ino irarugamirirwo ni ruhonge rwa utambia wa mai rwa Ewasonyiro. Murugamiriri munene wa ruhonge ruru akiuga matacukite ikinya riri niguo guteithiriria aikari aya na makiria muno atumia aria marakoragwo ugwati-ini wa gutharikirwo ni njogu hamwe na nyamu ingi cia githaka.
This project, the scope of it
is that we have done 13 kilometers of water, which has 5 kiosks in it. It has 5,000 liters for each of the kiosks. So cumulatively, times 5, we have put close to 250,000, to 25,000 liters of water.
Sehemu sana inakuaga kame na shida ya maji, na kwa hivyo leo kwa ushirikiano ya serikali kuu na serikali ya kaunti tuko na furaha kufungua maji hii, na kwa hivyo tunataka tukueleza watu wa Kunju kwamba hii maji iko itakuwepo.
Ngiribotera Kameme TV risoroko ni Wanjiru wa Foro. Thirikari ĩrĩ na mũbango wa kũgacĩrithia ũrĩmi wa maĩ naguo nĩ kũhũrana na ũnyihu ũrĩa ũkoretwo ho. Nderwo nĩ mwerekeri wakwa tutigũkorwo tukiheana riboti ĩyo, no macio na mangĩ maingĩ nĩ gũkorwo ũkireherwo mathaa-inĩ ma hwaĩ-inĩ. Ngatho cia mwanya mũno makĩria nĩ ũndũ wa ũnyitanĩri waku. Ngũririkania atĩ kaguaya kainũkagĩra nyina. Niĩ njĩtagwo Mumbi wa Wanyoike, mwathĩrĩri na njĩra ya ciĩko etagwo Nyambura wa Wamuca.
Kameme TV, muthegi wa rũrĩrĩ.